In order to quickly recover his strength and heal from his injuries, Kevin took 2 Supreme pills, then changed weapons as he switched back to using the Night Dagger. Clyde had begun to feel sorry for Kevin and dared him to keep attacking until all his strength was gone. Sensing that Clyde was underestimating him, Kevin took advantage of the opportunity as he continuously targeted Clyde's body, feeling more powerful and quicker than ever. By then, most of the other battles had already ended, and the remaining contestants couldn't help but watch what was happening inside the green arena. However, their focus wasn't on Kevin, but on Clyde. The Southeast School for Natural Medicine was a school that none of its rivals could look down on. Moreover, the remaining contestants couldn't imagine a scenario where Kevin would win. And since the next round's matchups had yet to be finalized, they all viewed Clyde as a potential opponent. So they figured it would be a good idea to watch him closely so they could be better prepared if they had to face him. Roughly 30 seconds had passed, and Kevin was still going at it, relentlessly attacking Clyde with the Night Dagger. As this went on, the crowd started to burst into laughter. "This is getting funny. Is that piece of going to tire himself to death?" Lionel snickered. "This is embarrassing for our class. He should have just listened to Professor Murdoch and forfeited instead of letting his arrogance drag us all down." Mike shook his head. "Now all the rival schools will see our healing art school as a joke. He single-handedly tarnished our reputation. If he doesn't drop out, he better get expelled," Luther jeered. Despite all the hate that he was receiving from the crowd, Kevin didn't care what the others said. With the Night Dagger in his hand, he just kept his focus on attacking Clyde non-stop with all his strength. Meanwhile, the discussion amongst the leaders watching from the platform had a much different tone to it. "What kind of sword-fighting technique is Kevin using? Why haven't I seen it before?" Wayne Ford was quite stunned by what he saw. "I've been studying different sword-fighting techniques for decades, but I've never encountered such swift and powerful moves like that before. It's simply marvelous," Paul Vaughn admitted as he watched Kevin intently. "He must have learned it from somewhere." Renee Silver had an extremely sour expression on her face. "I think so too. Moves like those require some sort of special training," Paul replied. "Perhaps he has been secretly trained in martial arts for years. And have you all forgotten? He's done so many immoral things. If we don't get rid of him as soon as possible, he'll eventually become a huge threat to us in the future," Jeffrey Bowie argued angrily and unfairly. "Jeffrey's right. We have to capture this guy and interrogate him. For all we know, he could have already joined the other side, serving as a spy for the Myriads or the Alliance." Paul spoke again. His true goal was to obtain Kevin's legendary weapons and learn his sword-fighting technique. If he succeeded, the Central Alternative Healing Academy would definitely be able to dominate the world in the future. When she heard this, Renee nodded her head in agreement, and the same greedy look emerged in her eyes. Suddenly, someone in the crowd suddenly gasped. "I can't believe it! It looks like Clyde is going to lose." Everyone turned their eyes to Clyde, whose right knee was now bleeding profusely. "All right, that's enough. This has been going on for too long and you're starting to get annoying," Clyde shouted. He stopped defending himself and swung his fist at Kevin. Upon doing so, he could feel an intense pain in his right knee. At the same time, Kevin managed to sidestep Clyde's fist and then kick him hard in the knee. The crisp sound of bones breaking echoed throughout the entire stadium. Everyone was surprised to see that Kevin had kicked Clyde to the ground. A minute had passed, but he still couldn't get up. Then a painful cry came out of Clyde's mouth. "My knee! What did you do to it?" "You told me to keep attacking, right? Your knee suffered hundreds of thousands of strikes. It seems that even the iron wall technique has a breaking point." Kevin wiped the blood from his mouth and explained with a smile. "That's impossible. No one has ever been able to break through my defense. What kind of sorcery is this?" Clyde kept shaking his head. The once confident expression in his eyes had slowly turned into fear as he nursed his mangled knee. "Don't worry. What doesn't kill you will only make you stronger." After saying these words, Kevin smiled as he walked away and left the green arena. The entire crowd was silent. Even though the referee had yet to recover from his shock, everyone was well aware of the outcome of the battle, and no one dared to mock Kevin for being a useless piece of. Jeffrey quickly left the stands and ran to the green arena to check on Clyde's injuries. Thankfully, according to the medical staff, he had only suffered a dislocated right kneecap, which would fully heal in about 6 to 8 weeks. "I'm sorry I failed you. I gravely underestimated that guy," Clyde called out in a daze. "That's okay." Jeffrey smiled bitterly inside. He helped a student up as they slowly walked out of the green arena. Just then, the referee came back to his senses. "Kevin is the winner of this match." Up in the stands, Wayne asked, "This is the guy everyone calls a piece of. I don't care what anyone else thinks. He's got a special talent." Many of the top leaders around him lowered their heads, including Renee. Even though she had a lot to say, she decided to lay low for now to avoid provoking Wayne. As Kevin returned to his seat in the crowd, Dalton patted his shoulder and exclaimed, "Kevin, you're so friggin' awesome." "That was nothing," Kevin replied with a faint smile. "What is there to celebrate? The competition isn't over yet, and you'll still have to fight other contestants from other schools," Mike said with an indignant and mocking tone. Out of all the students at the Healing Arts School, nobody had wanted Clyde to beat Kevin to death more than Mike. Before Dalton could say anything to teach Mike a lesson, Kevin just waved his hand gently. "Thank you for your reminder." This response made Mike's face turn even uglier. He couldn't accept the fact that his insults no longer affected Kevin. After the second round of the competition, all of the remaining contestants were given an extra 10 minutes to rest. Kevin didn't pay attention to anyone else, and he just sat calmly in his seat with his eyes closed while he recharged his batteries. Soon the host appeared once again with the microphone in his hand. He announced the start of the third round, where Kevin was going to fight Sebastian Young, a representative of the Southwest School of Healing. "Kevin, I advise you to surrender now. Did you hear who your opponent is going to be?" Mike immediately sneered. "I have no idea who he is, but how are you so sure that I'll lose this time?" Kevin's voice wasn't loud, but the surrounding people could clearly hear him. They began to look at him as if he were a fool. "Kevin, don't you know how powerful the people from the Southeast School of Healing are?" Professor Murdoch cautioned. "Just because you managed to last for 2 rounds, now you think you're so unbeatable?" Lionel said in disgust. "You've had quite a run, but your luck is just about to run out against Sebastian. You should back down now and admit defeat if you still want to live," Luther added. Dalton had wanted to speak on Kevin's behalf, but when he thought about Kevin's opponent, even he began to have some doubts.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.